We will talk with Tommy Tune, the Tony Award-winning director of 9, as we continue on a Monday. Be right back. The comedy Cloud 9 and the Broadway musical 9, Tommy got a lot more than just good reviews for his efforts. He won the Obie Award for Cloud 9. He made theater history by becoming the first director to ever win Drama Desk Awards for both an off-Broadway and a Broadway show. And he capped it all off last night by picking up the Tony Award for his work in 9. Tommy Tune has been involved on Broadway for a good number of years, first as a performer, later as a choreographer and director, and we are delighted, Katie and I, to welcome you to Live at 5. It's nice to have you with us. Congratulations. You are on a roll, as they say.
Are you on Cloud 9? I am on Cloud 9. And it's the same as regular life, but it's just about this far off the floor.
Well, you don't have very far to go to get 10 feet off the ground, Tommy, I'll tell you. Congratulations.
What's the secret? You're on fire. You don't make any mistakes, it seems now. You're not doing anything wrong at all. You rehearse in the lobbies of the theaters 2 days before openings. I got to tell you, we were overshooting part of this series we're doing in the morning at the 46th Street Theater, and finally Tommy and Michael Stewart, the producer, said, look, you got to get out of here. We have to rehearse. And I said, where? Here in the lobby, right? You had
Yes, we couldn't get up on the stage. They were painting it, so we had to rehearse in the lobby. We kicked you out and we figured out the bows.
And the whole troupe came in, right? And,
is that when you rehearsed the pigeons?
No, the pigeons,
Did you ever?
the doves moved into the theater 2 weeks before we moved in and started their training process because, see, they're homing pigeons or doves or whatever and they have to live there. And then they have to learn their choreography.
You really rehearsed them for 2 weeks, Tommy?
Yes. Oh, yes. They're very sensitive little creatures, and they have to study
how
they do
this guy's shows work. I mean, he's just down to every detail.
I didn't teach him to fly. God did that. God's the choreographer here.
We should tell you, in connection with 9, for those of you that might not know, this was really a dramatic finish to the Tony part of the Broadway season. You opened that show on Broadway 5 hours before the nominations closed, and going into opening night, Dreamgirls was the big musical game in the city, and you pulled off a really spectacular thing on opening night. The show had not been on the road. You hadn't taken it out of town or anything, and you pulled, I think, how many Tony nominations on opening night? Just under the deadline?
We got a dozen.
A dozen?
Yeah.
Not bad. Were you surprised? It was kind of frantic. There were some little financial glitches going in, investors changing their minds here and there, and it was tense time going in.
It was very hard. Our producers, led by Michael Stewart, really did it. They did it. They got it all together, and one day we would have money from this movie studio, and then the next day they would pull out, and I mean, it was quite dramatic. We didn't plan to get under the wire like that. That's just how it happened, and it served us well.
I want to know what you felt like last night sitting there. Best musical is always the last thing, the last award given, and you'd already done your little tap dance and what have you. What did you feel like sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting for that last big announcement?
I guess it was the most emotional moment in my life thus far. I was so happy for our producers and for Michael Stewart, because they really did it. We did the easy part. We made the show. What they did was getting a show on, and it's so hard these days, you know, with everything so expensive. And they did it, and they were all up there, and I was weeping.
well, everybody around me said, oh, well, heck, I mean, everybody knew that 9 was going to win.
How can you know? We didn't know. Did you know?
Well, nobody picked you, but how could you know?
I mean, it was a very close race, I think. I mean, we were sweating it.
Starting all over again.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you're on a little bit of a high, and should be with all of the kudos you picked up here in the last few days, try and set yourself apart a little bit for a minute and take a look at the season. As I mentioned in the first segment of the series, there are people who have said that the street's got problems, that attendance is down, that the quality of the plays isn't as good. You've been on Broadway a while, and what are your thoughts on that subject?
It's cyclical. It really is. I remember, I don't know, I'm feeling like an old timer, but I remember the last time this came around, and I believed it the last time. I went, oh, it's going to die on us. It's going to die on us. There's not going to be a Broadway in 2 years. There's not going to be and I went into a slump, and we came right out, and Michael came in with the chorus line, and the whole thing went up again. And that's the way of the world. It goes like this, you know. It's what it goes round like love, you know.
I truly do worry about ticket prices,
well,
though.
You should.
Jack made the point in the series. In 6 years, look what's happened to ticket prices.
I know.
Do you
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for Michael and me that it cost that much. It's embarrassing. I want everyone to see it. I don't know how to figure that out. I'm not an economist or whatever that is. I don't know how to do that. But something's got to happen.
But because it seems to me that despite the fact that the money is up, if the bodies are down, I mean, you really are something is being lost.
I don't know. They're going to have to figure that out. Smarter people than me. I don't know how to do that. I just make the shows.
You just make them.
And I try not to waste money. I try very hard not to waste money. We had one showgirl costume cut in 9, and I'm embarrassed about that and sorry, and I apologize to the producers. I hate to waste money. I don't like to. Every little penny.
Well, that's a refreshing attitude.
Oh, I just can't bear it. That's why I don't like a lot of scenery either. I think that's a waste of money. You don't need a lot of scenery. What you need is imagination and talent.
Well, and the staging of 9 would bear out what he says.
Absolutely.
The way this thing is put on the stage is absolutely fascinating to me. You're getting ready to do a little hoofing again yourself, are you not?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going back on the boards. Well, we start rehearsal July 5th. Twiggy and me. We're doing Funny Face.
Back again from the boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, you know, after The Boyfriend, we were going to make a sequel to The Boyfriend that took place 10 years later. And we worked and worked for 6 months in London on it, and then the project fell through. So now we're finally getting together.
And when does that? When does Funny Face open?
Well, I don't know the exact date. We go into rehearsal the 5th of July, then we're going to try it out of town in San Francisco, and then we'll be back in September, October.
Terrific.
Oh, I hope it works. I would just love to perform in a show for a while.
Do you have a preference? Which do you like doing best?
I like it all.
Like it all?
I really do.
Well, you do it all well.
Thanks.
I thank you for being here again. Our congratulations for all of the much-deserved recognition that you're getting. With this kind of talent on the street, I think the fabulous Invalid's probably in pretty good hands.
Oh, we'll limp on, listen.
Okay. Thanks, Tommy. And we'll be looking all week long on Live at 5 at the state of the art on Broadway. We hope you'll be watching. That's live.